Hi, my name is Sally Bernard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995 Studio A. And now onto the show.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to my show. Sunny Florida, but we don't look like we're in Florida, but we are. We've had freezing weather here, as hopefully a lot of my audience is from Florida, so they know and can relate to what I'm saying. Okay, we have a really fun, deep talking show, if you can call it deep, today. I'm not sure, but I think it's about disclosure. I'm waiting for the wonderful questions that we have over there, Dawn. So I would call it disclosure for people that are calling in? Or?
I think you maybe timelines, dimensions, non-human intelligence.
Yes,
which is interesting, right?
That's interesting, yes. So basically, if any of the viewers feel like they want to give me a call and ask me a question about they're non-human to this planet. So, I mean, there's kind of anything that you feel is like what we would call supernatural. It may not be to the aliens that, or my spirits that may be answering these questions, but anyone that call in if you have a question about that, because it's certainly been on the news.
888-994-4995, Studio A. Just tell them you have a question. I'm looking at your necklace, Sally. It's a little distracting. I feel as if that was inspired from another dimension.
Well, actually, I bought this because the lady that was making these, I think she's in Colorado, I'm not sure. I was really attracted to it because it sort of keeps out, let's say, the darkest side of spirit. Well, spirits aren't on a dark side, but it cleans you. It's a protection. That's the best way of putting it, to anything that might be a vibration that's coming this way. And it kind of wards it off. And I do believe that. I don't get scared. I think fear brings in those things, but it's still nice to know that you may be being protected. And also this goes with it too, the little bracelet here.
Oh, it's lovely.
Same thing. I don't know. I think I lost it. So
it protected you.
I'm being fully protected with my earrings too.
What does it feel like to be protected, but yet do you feel as if you're not going to take in something negative, or it's just not going to harm you?
Well, I feel that, I mean, we're subjected to a lot of energies, especially when I'm not referring to anybody in particular, but when we're outside, we don't know who's around us. So I think that being fearful attracts negative energy sometimes. So for me, I try not to be fearful in many situations, but it's still nice to have that little added protection. You know, there's no way of knowing for sure, because I'm not sure. I didn't watch the lady who made this sitting there doing that, but I feel I was attracted to this, yes.
All right, so today we're talking about timelines and dimensions, and a lot of people have written questions in. It's been a really, really hot topic lately. But you were talking to me, I think it was yesterday, about fingerprints and eyes and different things that we'd never even really had the conversation.
Right. No, it's interesting, Dawn. Just to we were having dinner last night together, six of us actually, and I was listening. Actually, I don't think it was coincidental. The day before, I listened to shows. I feel that Aldo's leading me to the correct shows on. It can be YouTube or Gaia TV, and it was a lot to do with aliens and what goes on. And actually it was so like the guy didn't want himself known, that he was talking about things that we consider like really scary or way out, so he actually couldn't see his face. But it was very interesting to know what really goes on deeper than what we know, what's not necessarily what we see in the news. There's so much more. And it was a lot that Aldo used to talk to me about, and I wasn't really ready to hear all this. Sometimes I kind of didn't believe, I believed what he was saying, but I couldn't really take it in. But when I was listening to this show, I was just engrossed in it. Some of the things that are kept basically from us. I mean, I don't want to go because my face is not covered.
All right, so some of them is a different question. So let's get into this one. This is from Karen from Coral Springs. Is disclosure happening slowly or on purpose so humanity doesn't panic? Oh, it's in alignment with the same topic.
Right. Yeah, I think it's. They're talking, and that's fine. But for some reason, it's distracting me. Hi. Hello. Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. It's just sometimes. I mean, normally I don't get distracted. Actually, as you know. Can you just repeat the question?
Sure. Is disclosure happening slowly on purpose so humanity doesn't panic?
I completely agree with that. I think so, because if they can gradually disclose these things to us, and they do quite a bit, as much as they want us to know. I mean, if you watch a TV or sometimes actually on movies, they've been disclosing a long time. I mean, remember when E.T. came out? But it's becoming more and more aware. People are becoming more and more aware. It doesn't seem now like at one time when that came out, people say that could never be. But today people are rewatching a lot of the shows that came out. They don't want to scare us, so they do it little by little.
All right. Who controls the pace of the disclosure?
Okay, that's a deeper question.
Is it government? Is it consciousness? Something else?
I think it's up to us as an individual to see some of the things that we see. If we feel that we kind of believe that, then we do our own research. And that's what I really want to say, because only a certain amount is disclosed to us. And I absolutely understand that much more now than I did. I thought I knew a lot, but the programs that I've been watching are really making sense to me. But so I can't tell you, but if you feel that you want to know more about a subject, the good thing is you can go into the internet and read a little bit more, but you have to do your own research, and then you feel you're ready to read more, then read more. It's out there, but not everything is out there, let me say that.
How can people prepare emotionally for what they might learn?
That's a great question too. That also depends on the individual, Dawn, because there is so much. The only thing, and I feel that I want to talk about this more, is just be aware that there is so much more going on. If you think about it, it's a very big universe here. Are we alone? I totally believe that we're not. I feel that we've had aliens visiting us for many, many, many years, but it is becoming more prominent now. More people are coming out with their stories, and I feel that more and more, I think we're getting near it. The time is near that the most important thing is for people not to panic. So the more that you can hear these stories and you hear what's going on, the more likely that you're going to think, well, maybe I want to hear more. I think they don't want me talking about it. I never noticed the fan until it went off.
What do you think about disclosure, Freddie? Are you prepared emotionally for it?
I don't know if I'm prepared emotionally for it, because simply everybody has a different take on it. Some people are using it to inform. Some people are using it to scare people. Some people are using it explaining themselves to people in a different light. There is no consistency to what's going on.
I think more and more that more people are becoming more aware that maybe we're not alone. The more people will have it in conversations and more will come out, maybe more people will be at the same level. Right now it's, do you believe or do you not believe? So the ones that believe are obviously scaring the ones that don't believe, so we need a balance there. So once we start bringing all this out into the open, and there is a possibility that maybe we're going to see an alien in the near future, people won't be as scared. So the most important, as far as I feel, is that we do talk about it more. So it won't be suddenly you're going to see someone, oh, what are they doing? What's going on? We have to do that gradually, but the gradual has been going on for many years now. There has to be a time when they are going to show us themselves.
Well, it looks to me like more people are less afraid to talk about what they want to do and more brave as to what they feel and what they see. So maybe that's what disclosure is about. I don't know.
Well, I think actually that's a very good point, Freddie, because years ago, had I have been doing this show maybe 15 years ago, people would say, find out where the studio is, right. She needs to be somewhere else. But today, many more people accept it today. And they are open. They may not necessarily believe what we're talking about, but they're much more open, and that starts the journey. As long as you're open, you'll hear and see more.
I was going to ask Sally what disclosure means to her. What is it that it means to you?
For me, I can't wait for this to happen because I've been, and you know, Russ was here
Right.
the other day and he's coming back, I believe, doing a show too because he feels also very prepared that we should prepare people. I only know a little bit, but there are people that know much more and they have some idea even when disclosure is going to happen. But to me, it means that something that I feel very, very strongly about, and I have done for the last 20 years, that finally I can say to people that maybe not believed anything that I said or even read my book, you see, I wasn't crazy. And that means a lot to me because my message out there, I want to show people that you don't have to be crazy to believe this.
Gotcha.
It's there. So it means a lot to me, a lot. I just hope I'm around, you know.
And you,
hold
Dawn,
on.
what about you? What does it mean to you?
I think they walk among us. I think
Mm-hmm.
there's angels, earth angels, I believe. There's other dimensions that are here. I think everyone has unique abilities, and maybe that's because we're all part extraterrestrial, whatever that looks like.
Perfect. Oh, yeah.
I don't necessarily think they're 8 feet and green.
Well, there's a variation of them. Some of them are tiny, some of them are tall. But having talked about that just now, I think the ones that will be the first ones to show themselves here are going to look very much like us because they are walking around us. And I'm glad you brought that up. They are definitely amongst us.
Do you think
now.
they know who they are?
Yeah. Well, the ones that are yes, a lot of them don't actually. Well, that are going to appear do, but there are many people walking around that I believe don't know who they are until someone. Actually, it's a very interesting subject because I was approached, if you think about it, by Aldo 20 years ago, and the program that I've just been watching on Gaia was amazing, and I'm going. The people that were talking very openly, and one guy was completely in disguise, he did not want at this point because he was going very deep into the subject. They were all approached by somebody that was already here, and I didn't even realize at first, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's exactly what Aldo did for me 20 years ago. So they're telling a lot of the people that are coming forward today who they are, what they remember, and this guy was amazing. He'd only known for 12 years, but it was so secretive what he was talking about. He didn't want to be, he just didn't want himself known. But I think they approach them. You see someone that may be walking around that is what we call an alien. They're not an alien to their planet, but to this planet, they come up and they tell you. So Dawn on TV right now.
We'll see. Well, Michael from Phoenix, he asks, are extraterrestrials from outer space or from other dimensions, or both?
I believe from both, because they're coming, we say outer space because they're coming from other planets. I mean, we would be, if we go to visit them, which I know today, and I truly believe that many of the people have done that, we're from what we would call outer space, but we're from planet Earth. Same with them. They come to visit us from other planets, so.
Interesting. Do you think they'll be harder to understand?
What, the aliens when they talk? That's a good point, actually, because I think a lot of them talk with telepathy. But I think the ones that are going to make themselves known here, they already know they're going to come. So it's like if we were going to go to France and we were going to spend time there, we would learn. That's what they're telling me right now, my guides. We would learn French.
Right.
So the ones that know that they're going to show themselves here, because I'm sure it's being planned on other planets, because they come to help us. And that's an important thing too. Many people are saying they're coming to scare us, they're coming to do this, there's going to be a war. No, I believe the majority of them are good people and they want to help us. So they'll be able to speak, I assume.
A war, we can fight with everyone.
But guides, you say guides. Are guides aliens?
A guide that I'm hearing is not from this planet necessarily.
So is he an alien?
No, well, anybody, that's actually very interesting to say that, because anyone that's not from this planet, if you think about it, is an alien. They're an alien.
So you're talking to guys that are not from this planet?
I'm talking to people maybe that are on a higher dimension.
Well, don't say people. You're talking to something.
Well, they are. They're in spirit. Some of them have lived here. Some have incarnated. I never really talk about who they are because it's a collective of people. So they've lived here, some of them haven't. They're in spirit, which is another dimension.
So you're talking to people in spirit.
with my answers, yes.
But you don't classify them as aliens.
No, they don't like that.
Do you classify them as human spirit gone beyond?
Well, they're let's say from beyond, from another dimension.
People.
Because the ones that were in physicality, yes, they're people just like us that were walking
And there
around.
are others that were not in physicality.
Some of them have never incarnated, so they're in spirit, which is a higher dimension, and it's hard to actually explain that because they're not in human form. We're in human form, but we can have an alien visiting us from another planet that looks totally different to us.
No, I get that, but I'm trying to figure out whether your spirit guides are alien, people that weren't incarnated, or human spirit.
They're a mixture. They're absolutely a mixture.
So you talk to more than one spirit?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have a few that definitely come through. They haven't really made their names known to me that much, but I know that I'm protected by my spirit, by a spirit, Aldo, who I knew, who to me is still Aldo that lived here.
Okay.
It's interesting because then they're channeling the information for you to be their mouthpiece.
That's exactly right. And that's one of the things that I think about what Aldo said to me in one of his last words, which he kept saying through his lifetime here, you will be my mouthpiece. So he only gave me what I could take in, Dawn. He gave me other information that I wasn't even aware of. But when I listened to Gaia today, or YouTube people listen to too, I hear a lot of what he told me, which I wasn't ready to hear. We only hear what we're ready to hear, actually, in a lot of situations like this. So I'm going, oh my gosh, Aldo, you absolutely said that. Now I get it, because we're on a learning. We learn. So we can only hear kind of what we're ready to hear. I could say something to you and you're ready to hear it, and I could tell Freddie and maybe you're not. You're going to interpret it slightly different, or it just goes above your head. We are in the right place at the right time. I'm going to say nearly all the time. If we're not, we're still meant to be there, but people are going, that's ridiculous. But I believe that we always are, actually.
How do you know you're always talking to Aldo?
No, I'm not always talking to Aldo, but I can feel his presence around me. A lot of the time I don't know. The only time I know one particular person, because the guide, and Marita will tell you this, and you've probably heard me say this too, because I'll say something and the words that he always uses, does that make sense? So I always know, and I think I brought that up before. So when I say something to you and I say that makes sense, they don't necessarily give me their names. Maybe because I haven't asked. As also, they're saying because you haven't asked. But it's a collective, it's a group of people.
Interesting. All right, next question. Denise from Long Island. Have we already been interacting with non-human intelligence without realizing it?
Absolutely, 100% in my world, yes, we have. They walk amongst us. They don't introduce themselves and say, hi, I'm here from another planet. But a lot of entities have come in, let's call them entities, to help our planet. And they've been here for years and years. Now, having said all this, I have to bring this up. There is a dark side to this, too, that don't want us to know this knowledge, but which I'm not going to go into because it just people that are aware know what I'm actually saying. But we need balance, too. So we need I don't want to say even the dark and the light, but let's use that expression. There is the dark and there is the light. So you have to get that balance. So, and they're here, a lot of people, a lot of entities don't want us necessarily knowing all this information.
Okay.
It's interesting. So you're gonna say that somebody has spirit guiding them, if they're listening, correct? If they're listening.
Yes.
So you have an individual who meets another individual on this plane, on this planet, and they're being led by guides, and then some. Apparently, I learned that today. When somebody meets somebody else and they get married, there's a whole lot of people in this room. Does that change the perspective of what got them there, number one? And number two, does it change people having all that influence?
No, because the first thing that we really need to understand is we do have free will. We have free will, so we're still going to go ahead with what we We feel what we've chosen, our free will. So just to explain that guides or spirits or people from other dimensions that come in to help us, they don't change they can't really interfere. Let's talk about in general the world. They come down here to help us. They'll only try harder, I'm going to say, for us to wake up. Because if we're going to blow ourselves up, because a lot of things are going on with nuclear here, will affect their planet. So having answer to your question is they'll come and help us, but they don't necessarily interfere with our journey. But if they see danger along the way, they'll try to say sidetrack us, or somebody else will come in and talk through telepathy.
But what about human relationships? So you got a man and a woman, they date, they marry, they have children. Are there other forces influencing those decisions?
Well, yeah, we don't have to really go too far with that. How high is the divorce rate? Think about that.
Well, that's a different animal, because
not
then
really.
they're guiding us towards divorce? That doesn't
No, but how people don't always gel together.
Then why did they get married?
Well, that's some people marry because they're young. Some people they marry for many different reasons, Freddie. It may not always be their journey. I don't believe that we meet anybody, especially in marriage, by coincidence. I think this is all planned out. But if it's not working out, and the divorce rate is very high, it's hard to get along, anybody actually, with another individual, because there's energies, there are life plans, there's a lot of things that can happen, and we see that all the time. That's why we have wars. We just don't always gel together. So it's planned. If you look at it in answer to the question, we plan our life, but does it always go the way we plan it?
Correct.
Not necessarily.
Correct.
Do you think some of the messages people get, their intuition, is through telepathy from the other side, like you're getting guided?
Definitely, 100%. And then you feel that they'll only, you have to ask for help too. I think I've said this before, because they'll only help us. We have free will, but we can say, I usually say, help me for my highest interest, my best, for myself, what would be in my best interest. So they know that they can come in and help us. They're there to help us all the time. We need to listen. We need to ask for guidance. You will get it. It's through telepathy. I say, yes, it's through telepathy, but people can also show up in your life and you'll say, my goodness, I just asked that and here you are. That happens a lot.
All right. Trevor from Boulder, Colorado. Could a UFO sighting be a glimpse of other timelines crossing ours?
Well, yes, because there's a word that they do use. It's called bleed. You bleed into another time. It kind of overlaps it. I don't really like the word bleeding into, but it overlapped. I mean, I've had instances. If Marita, my friend, is listening, I don't know, where we actually saw a car racing down a street. It was a busy street, and this car was going. 2 cars. We both saw the cars, and then suddenly there was no cars there at all, and the street was kind of empty. There's no way. I feel that was it was in between the two. So I believe that usually happens if there's any danger. I don't know for sure, but I feel that that's one of the reasons too. Maybe to stop us or to slow us down or not go that way. So they use subtle things to help us.
It makes me think about when you were driving home the other day and you saw those 2 cars in fires.
Yeah.
You stopped.
Then I was told, get out.
But do you think it stopped you for a reason, maybe for you not to be on that path? Maybe the fires are there and you stopped. You didn't have to. You could have kept going.
Well, the funny thing with my life is that that's not the first time that's ever happened.
That's
I was going to say that. Right. I think that Freddie, we sometimes, for good and bad too, we pull in things where we feel that we can be helpful. For myself, as much as I hope everybody's all right, I couldn't get out of a car. I'd call 911 right away. Absolutely, I wouldn't neglect it. But I don't like accidents because I feel, so I wouldn't be much help. But you, and my son is that way. He actually jumped out of his car and a guy died in his arms not that long ago because he can do that. So if they feel that you could be of service at that particular time, and they pick you, I believe they pick Freddie for this, because you've had a few things happen. You can be using the word of service to them. You can be of service, Freddie. If it was me driving by, I couldn't have done what you do.
But and then is that what they're trying to tell me?
Well, you're actually helping yourself in a way too, because you're helping them. You're helping them over something that maybe someone else couldn't do. So you're in the right place at the right time. But when it happens a lot to you, or quite a few times, you have to question in a nice way, I'm glad I was there because you were of service, and they know that. That's really the answer. That's the best
But
answer.
I'm still looking for the answer to why does it continue to happen in the weirdest ways. You know, the incidents occur over and over and over and over and over and over, and it's very similar. It's either fire or car accidents.
Well, I think by what I'm saying, I feel very good about saying this to you, and I think that this is what's happening, that you are in the right place for the right people at the right time, because it's a part of what you may have chosen to do, but you're not necessarily doing it as a profession, like an ambulance driver or somebody or working in a hospital, but as someone driving along, you certainly have had this happen. My son is too. He was a medic in the army, but accidents have happened, and he called me up a little while ago where he jumped out. The police officers all thanked him. Jumped out of the car and was, in fact, his words were to me, that I was the last person he saw because the guy died. But I don't necessarily. They'll use us too to help people, and I think that's what happens with Freddie.
It's there was on Linton Avenue there was a car accident where a young lady got hit by a speeding car. I missed her, and she got hit, and she was hit and she was on the ground, and my son jumped out of the car to move the traffic off of her, and I sort of parked on the side. Linda was with us also to get the traffic, but I decided not to move traffic. I threw myself on top of her because I figured that cars were still going by her, and if I didn't cover her, if they probably couldn't see her, they were going to hit me. And there was glass and everything hitting on me. And I told my son, because she hit the car so hard that the hood of the car flew off the car that hit her. And it was laying on the ground. And I said, throw the hood of the car out of the way, because I kept getting hit in the face with debris off the hood. So he grabbed it and he threw it. Now I gotta remind you, you got Linda on one side of the street. My son is laying next to her. And he's directing traffic away from her and me. And she was alive. And that Sunday I went to church and I asked to speak to somebody, because I kept having this image. Yeah, because you're getting right over and over again. And did the lady pass? I don't know. They weren't allowed to tell me. But it's funny because today, Ryan, who we do with you and your doctor, a show that we've done here since that day, he wasn't allowed to tell me what happened. But Ryan is still here because of that incident at the hospital. He was working at the hospital and he came to see me. And their parents came in from Portland. I think her parents were from Portland. But when I spoke to the people at the church, they put me into a prayer room. I have never been in a prayer room. I didn't even know what that was. And she said to me, she whispered to me, the lady that did the sermon, the church pastor, whatever she was. She said, sometimes God calls you into the most difficult situations so that you can breathe belief into her ear. And she asked me, it's really strange. She asked me, did you talk to her in her ear? And I had. So if you think about this whole thing, I know for myself, I can honestly say I could not have done what you did. I'm not saying that I don't see accidents. I would never leave someone. I would definitely from a distance call for help immediately and maybe ask someone else. But you are able to do that, Freddie. So think about this. You've seen quite a few accidents like this. I have. Because I'm not going to say it's your calling, but in a way you're called to help somebody. And you have. And you did. I don't know whether I have a feeling. It's just a coincidence of it. The kid that threw himself out the window, or they threw him out from the fifth floor. I don't believe it's, I honestly don't believe in coincidences, but that's me. But you've had your share of seeing these people.
And it's good that you see this. I think it's important maybe that you know
I think
this.
it haunts me. I don't know if it's good.
Well,
Sally.
but through prayer maybe, and you were led to a prayer group, maybe you can
But
get
that was
rid
that
of
one
them.
incident. I could tell you
But
many others.
There's many, but do you see what I'm saying though, Dawn? Yeah. And it's that you're aware of it. I'm not saying you don't want to bring this type of thing there, but if it should happen, it's somebody else's thing. You happen to be there. Well, if you had an accident, how nice to have somebody that's so comforting that is there before anybody else can reach them.
It's tough. I you know,
It's
off air,
it's tough for you.
I'll tell you some
but
others
you're doing a service to people.
that you're going to be shocked.
Why don't we take a commercial break? We can come back and talk about all of that.
Okay, I'll see you guys back on the other side of this show.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and a grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail on how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Bernard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybernard.com. Now back to the show.
Hi, welcome back, everybody. We have questions.
Questions, or did you want to
Do you want to?
share more?
No, I think I've shared enough. Okay. Let's go to the questions.
You were called upon.
Are some human hybrids or starseeds connected to other dimensions?
Yes, absolutely, because they've especially, hybrids and star seeds are coming from a higher dimension. So when we say a higher dimension, because there's the 3rd, the 5th, well, we kind of leave out the 4th, but we're in between on the 4th, the 5th, 6th, and we go, as far as I know, and from what I've also heard, there are 10 dimensions. So people from other planets are not always, but they're on higher dimensions, so they're understanding more, their frequency. So they come here. We have technology here. Think how far we've come in 50 years. Do you think maybe we got a little help from some friends of ours? I think so.
What's a starseed versus a hybrid? What's the difference?
Not a whole lot, basically. We just use that. It's a terminology that we use, and I don't really, and I heard other people say that, like to label people. So a starseed is an entity, let's call, that comes here, that is born here, and a lot of the kids today are starseeds, but they've come in to help humanity right now, as the aliens, call them the aliens. They're not necessarily even aliens, but they're from another planet, so that's a term. They're here. There are so many people around to help us, so many, and we're scared. We shouldn't be scared, because a lot of the helpers that come in, their planets have gone through the same as Earth is going through right now. Some of them haven't survived. Atlantis, I'm sure everybody knows of Atlantis that's listening to the show, blew itself up. We got to be careful. We've got to be careful, and not to scare people, but we have a lot of help,
What do you think a common trait of a starseed is?
Basically, that's come in that can remember, that they don't always know that they remember. Their memory as mine. I don't remember, but Aldo told me when he came in, because he knew I was ready to hear what I already knew. So a lot of the kids today, and my advice, because a lot of them are what we call star seeds, they're coming here, they're planting themselves here. It just suddenly came to me. And they're being born here. if you're a parent of a starseed child that's born, and many are coming in right now, listen to what they say, especially as they're younger, because their memory hasn't left them completely. And they're here to help us.
And how is that different than a hybrid child?
Well, a hybrid child we're going to go into this a little deeper, because a hybrid usually is someone that, and I'm sure my viewers are aware of this, so I'm not necessarily, I don't see myself, but I know the viewers watching here, that has come in, and we are abducted many times. And many times that a woman has had or is going to have, who is pregnant, let's say, impregnated by them, they will take, this is way out, but I'm sure that people have heard this now, they will take that child, and that child, what we would call, is a hybrid child. So now it's not always on this planet, they're somewhere else, the hybrids, but the hybrids are also here too. So there's a link between the two, but basically it's quite well known what I'm saying. So
It's interesting. Okay. Robert from Roswell, New Mexico. Why does disclosure seem tied to the military and government information?
Okay. Excuse me, I'm not meant to talk about this, okay? I do know a lot, but I'm only going to touch the surface, okay? A lot of the people in the military or in the, in a professional field of that kind do understand a lot of this. And there are places like Area
51?
50, yeah, where a lot is going. I couldn't think myself, so they had to help me, but my guide here helped me, okay? There's a lot going on. I mean, if you think about it, you can't get near some of these places. So I have to say that many years ago when I was working in sales, and I didn't understand as much as I understand now, so I thought I could talk about this topic, and you're going to appreciate this, because I had a couple sitting, and they both work for NASA. And I started talking about a planet that is apparently taboo to talk about. And they both looked at me and they said, just keep to your subject of what you're selling. We do not want to discuss this. So they knew. But at that point, I only had Aldo as a reference that could tell me what in the heck they were talking about. They were scared. Not scared. They knew that I shouldn't be talking about it. So it's been hush-hush. But hopefully a lot of this comes out much more today.
I got a question about military. I have a sense that somewhere along my timelines, I was in the military. You ever get the sense that you can smell a military uniform? Do you know what a military uniform smells like? You ever been in the jungle or on grass or in the rainforest and your clothes get damp, and after a while it begins to have this forestry smell? It's kind of weird. It's like sweat and smell. It's sweat and the forest. You ever have this?
Well, you could have done two things. You could either it could be a lifetime that you've had, or a different timeline that we are actually still going through in this particular lifetime, where you switch timelines. I definitely believe that you were involved with something like that.
Well, I think it was military because I can actually smell it.
Well,
I can sense it.
Yes. See, that's like, if you want to call a clue to yourself. So, I was listening yesterday, I was having a breakfast with Steve, and this lady was talking about drowning. She couldn't go near water. So a lot of these things are memories. Now, it could have been one of two things with you. I definitely believe that you were involved with something like that, for sure. But whether it's a different timeline, because there are other aspects of ourselves too.
Going on at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm understanding that more and more now. And I think probably that's what it is, because I'm able to talk more about that today. And you're asking me that question. So there's some sort of reason that happened.
And it comes to me at a real strange times of the day. Like it just happened now when you guys were talking about the military. It comes to me unannounced. Not that I'm thinking about military, none of that.
That's how it works, Freddie. It does work that way. I mean, that's one way, because smell also, you hear, or it reminds you, because I remember what perfume my mother used to wear. So if I feel, I automatically think of my mother if I, smell that. I have no idea. This thing, I need to talk somewhere. My voice goes on this show.
It's the same.
Knows
it's the same thing like when you visit your grandparents. I was talking to Gio today, and going to Joe's house had a certain smell.
Sure.
Going to another grandparent had a different smell. Going to another person's house has a different smell.
Wait, it triggers a memory. Smell triggers a memory. If you think
But my
about
son
it.
calls me out of the blue, and we're talking about Joe today. About when he used to come, and he used to come downstairs and see Joe having a cup of coffee, reading the paper in our living room. And he says there was a smell. Could have been the paper, could have been the coffee. It's just weird.
It's to trigger your memory, I think, sometimes, Freddie.
But what is the purpose?
Well, there is real, it's a different purpose for different people.
I give you that.
So if you think about it, your purpose for remembering what you're beginning to remember, I don't know, but something will show itself, I believe. Then you'll say, you know what, I
And
do.
it begins. Another show yourself. Yes, I agree with you 100%.
Dawn could say something else that would have nothing to do with what we were going to experience, but it would be for you. We bring in what we need, and that's one
Do
of
we
the
share guides?
We can, yes. They may be primarily, like my guide might be, it's like here. You share friends or you share people. I mean, Aldo didn't help too.
Yeah, but you didn't, let's say you didn't know Dawn, you walked in here. Well, you've been sharing guides?
I think so, because how many people do you know
That we've
before we
overlapped
met?
before we met, right?
Yeah, I mean, and Chelsea.
But
The
does
fact-
that mean that you share
Well,
a guide?
we're on the same kind of path because our paths cross. That's a very interesting
Crossing
expression, right?
Paths
Our
cross.
cars, they would have crossed, and we brought that up before. I mean, I'm here in Boca, and you knew, and Chelsea knew, someone in Celebration where I used to live in Orlando. They were my neighbors. And I mean, Chelsea said it wasn't possible, right? Kind of. I showed you his name
So fun.
on
He
the
lived
phone.
downstairs from you,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, they were my neighbors downstairs. And I keep mentioning, we went through a hurricane with them. I was very friendly with him and his wife. And the fact that, and I said that to Steve last night, why did that even come up, you think about it? Why? It's strange. They lived in Celebration, I live here, and yet that conversation came up. So they have a way. I don't know the reasons for it, but maybe it's not coincidence, it's synchronicity.
See, then you mentioned your grandmother's perfume, and I'm sitting here smelling my grandmother's perfume, which is
Do
crazy.
you know the name of the perfume?
She used Estee Lauder Youth Dew. That's crazy.
Okay, and I remember
But there you have
Joy.
it. And
Right.
there you have it. You smell it.
Yes.
The memory has come through you
It
through the
comes-
sense of smell.
That's right. And
Not
it
only
does.
visual, but this is really weird.
But you know what that they can do for us? Because when I started drawing and painting, I used to say to Aldo, there's somebody, is there something in the room that's smelling a perfume? I didn't understand this. And he went, no. And I said, yeah, you can smell it. He could, but he knew that I was smelling something, that somebody was around me. They come with a sense of smell. It triggers our senses a little bit.
But you just went through it. I just went through it when she mentioned it. So what is it? All of a sudden, we're sharing a guy with a sense of smell?
Well, primarily, they want to let us know they're around us, Freddie. So if you think about it, which is something they're obviously able to do, and they can trigger you, and you're saying, well, there's something going on because I'm smelling this, and it reminds me of someone. Well, that's a good way to remind you of somebody that wants to get hold of you.
Interesting, isn't it?
It's very interesting.
It's
yeah.
kind of
It
spooky.
makes you think we should
No,
be more
it's-
connected to them.
That's all they want from
Or
us.
to
They
one
want-
another. Maybe the message just sending is that we're not connecting enough to one another.
Well, once you reach a higher frequency, though, this is another thing too. Once you can lift that frequency, we can all do this. But we've got to be in the right, I'm going to say, state of mind to do this. There are people in this room right now. Now, that sounds ridiculous. You think it's just the three of us. No, it's not. And if you raise your vibrational energy a little bit, you begin to hear them, which I do. Not all the time, because I don't want to hear, no disrespect to them, but I don't want to hear them all the time. It's not necessarily I'll lower my frequency, but I'm aware that if I start thinking of something else, they know to leave me alone.
All right, Ben from Tampa writes, could disclosure explain paranormal experiences like ghosts or shadow figures?
It can, because you know what we're doing? We're broadening the horizon. That's what they're saying. So people that may have seen these things and then they suddenly see maybe aliens, they know there's something more. That's where that we can talk about that too. Because if you're suddenly seeing They keep telling me not to keep using the word alien. They're really not, but we know them as aliens.
I don't think they like the word aliens.
I don't
think
think
they're
they
just
do.
a higher being.
I agree. Or someone from a different planet.
But this is why I ask: Are they aliens, or
Well,
are they spirit?
they're alien to this planet, but that doesn't mean they're aliens. We're aliens. We would be from if we go to another planet. We're not. That's not our home.
But we are more unfamiliar with our own planet than the aliens are.
Absolutely.
So we're the
100%.
aliens.
Well, we're basically aliens on our own planet. But I believe we're all from somewhere else, originally anyway. I could even go further into saying this, but I don't explain everything that I know, because I think maybe I'm strange too. But we're aliens ourselves. They are us in the future, if that makes sense. They are us. Especially certain people that have a remembrance, and I know that you have a slight remembrance, Dawn. I'm not wrong in saying that with certain things. Not even remembrance, that you may know things that other people don't seem to know what you're talking about.
Yes, like they told me a long time ago to stop calling them aliens because
Oh,
they're
they
not
told you
aliens.
too,
So when
right.
you said it, I'm
See?
chuckling because
Yeah.
they just don't like being called aliens.
So let me get this.
That's the
Let
first
me
time
get
I
this
heard
right.
that. So
So
funny.
millions and millions of years ago, when humans came. Now, I'm not going to argue the Adam and Eve. I'm not going to argue it
I
religiously.
can do
I'm
this,
just
yeah.
saying it started. Because somewhere along the line, it started. Can we agree on that?
I agree 100%.
Because we're all humans, right? So it started somewhere. Okay.
But I can go back if you want.
You can go even further back. That's going to be my question. So at that point, when it started, there must have been something going on before it started.
Oh, you mean like what would? Well, this Earth, we're comparatively a new Earth here. So even if we go back thousands and thousands of years,
Millions.
we do, yes. But people don't even comprehend that, and that's okay because they're not used to hearing that. It started here, but there are other planets that have gone back even further to simplify this. So I'm going to say that they came. I know more, and I could go into more detail, but just for the program here, they came from another planet to us here on Earth, because they knew the Earth was we were able to live here. I mean, I'm going back thousands and thousands. There is a story that's out there about how they came from a planet, Nibiru, and they came here to get gold, which I do believe, this story, but that would take a while to talk about it. But anyone that's familiar will know what I'm talking about. So they came here and populated Earth.
But you look at the Egyptians, and you look at the Sphinx, and you look at the pyramids. Now, apparently, there's a whole city underneath the sand.
Mm-hmm.
Which was humanly impossible to build. The pyramids were a stretch. Now you got stuff underneath the pyramids.
Yeah.
That's just, it cannot be done by humans.
Well, yes, but the technology was here. The people that came here were from, if you think about it, to simplify it again, they're coming from another planet. They had that technology.
I get it. But my question is,
They interacted.
they must
with
have shown it to the Egyptians who were doing trigonometry and
Perfect,
math, and
yeah.
there must have been something that helped build the pyramids and these underground cities and tunnels that they've discovered.
So
You know,
common
that didn't
sense
just
tells
happen
you.
because we woke up one day.
Okay, the whole point of talking about this, which is really good, Freddie, is that they have been showing this on History Station for years and years. Aliens, whatever. People have chosen to ignore this. This is what we've done. They've chosen to keep this all undercover, not talk about it. Only certain people knew the truth. What's happening today is us. We're actually which is right in front of our eyes. Why didn't we question this hundreds of years ago? How are these pyramids? They know more because we have the technology now to see further down.
Right.
So more and more is coming out. There is so much to come out. But logically, just as a person who's hearing this, you're opening their mind up to how was that possible. There was levitation. I understand a lot of this as much as I'm meant to. I mean, there's much more that I don't know. Common sense would tell me, well, this can't be possible. And yet we have proof that it's possible.
So
How?
that isn't too much common sense.
We're not using too much common sense.
But there isn't, because
That's right.
we just don't know. Now, I know that you've been to the pyramids. I know that they put garb on you and you went through those tunnels.
Oh, I didn't
At
know
any
that.
stage when you were there, did anybody ever tell you there's a city down below you?
No.
Anybody ever tell you don't go down that path because it goes down under?
They put you on a specific path.
They let you know all
This
that you're
is where
not to
you're
know.
going.
That's
this
right.
is what you're going to do.
But if you sidetracked and decided to take there were many, you couldn't
couldn't
do it.
sidetrack.
You're in a foreign country.
You
You're in
couldn't.
Egypt.
No,
you're
you can't. But that's all planned.
But they never
on.
told you about what was beneath you, is my question.
No.
But they dressed you in the garb.
But the funny thing is, I go halfway up, and you get up, and I said, all right, how do I get down? And they said, the same way you went up. And I said to them, no, there's another way down. I remember having this conversation. They all laughed at me. They said, how could there be another way down? It is what it is. This is what you see. And I said, this makes no sense. There has to be another way down. Well, clearly now we know there is another way down.
Of course. But you have memories, Dawn.
But no one would tell me there was another way down because people only believe what they saw. And what you saw was an empty pyramid.
And how do two people, one coming in this direction and you going in the other direction, how do you both fit
Carefully.
in a tunnel that's so tight? But there is another way down.
Sure.
But they never told you
No.
about the other way
Because
down.
they'll only let you know what they want to let you know. And a lot of the people that are working there don't even know.
I said, where's the elevator? And they looked at me. They laughed.
Yeah.
I said, but I knew there had
That's
to be
quite an
another way
experience,
down.
Dawn, yeah.
But everyone just laughed at me because it was me and, they just
Now,
laughed.
I went to the pyramids in Crete, not in
Egypt.
Egypt. I went to the ones in Crete. And there was a little short woman who must have been 3'8", and she's arguing with me because I didn't want to go where everybody else went. And I said to her, no, I don't want to go in there. I want to know what's beneath it. There's nothing beneath it, nothing. And we got into this big argument. But she wouldn't leave. She wouldn't leave me because I said, I'm not going to do it. I ended up doing it anyway, which was just, what they want you, the tourist stuff that they want you to see. But why is it that the pyramids in Crete are very similar to the pyramids in Egypt?
So the
Because
ones
they
in
were-
Mexico.
Because they were all built at that same time. I mean, there's so much evidence of this going on, so much. But, so much so that when you try to expose a lot of this, the guy that came forward the other day was talking much more than just this, has to be disguised. They don't want you to know. There is so much to know, but little by little, as Alda used to say to me too, we're beginning to understand a little bit more because the evidence is here. But if you're never trained to believe that and you're told one way, because that's what happens with us, when you see it, you say, how could that be? But the evidence is telling you it is true.
But why do we spend so much time arguing the fact that there is something to talk about? Why can't we spend more time and discover why the pyramids were made?
Okay, I have my own views, which many people share, and most of them are in disguise when they talk about it. We are controlled as a people. We are controlled by people that control us. So, it doesn't matter that I'm bringing that out. I think we know. We don't know the depth of how we are controlled. They don't want this, because if you think about it, and it's a touchy subject, but if you think about it, how do you control someone? If you know and you don't want them to find out, because if they find out, then you're going to ask questions and you're going to say, hey, this is this. To control someone, it's better to keep you at a certain level. So I'm not saying good or bad. It doesn't matter. It's
But
just what
controlling
I-
them is just creating more questions, Sally.
It's creating
How
more, but
long
they do
can
it
you
for a
hide the
reason,
elephant in the
Freddie.
room?
I'll tell you a little more, maybe, but there's only so much that I even want to maybe expose myself to, because many people that really know the truth, and Aldo certainly did, so I had privy to a lot of this information. They don't expose it even like we're talking now. It's a taboo subject.
I was told we were cattle,
Yeah.
and that's why there are so many missing people. And they take them up and do whatever, but
But that's not the aliens necessarily. So to put this, to be fair to the people that abduct us, I'm not necessarily talking about them. I'm talking about living human beings that are here. The aliens who abduct us are actually friendly. I mean, they don't have to put us back. They use experiments because they want to better many things here.
So you're an
There
experiment.
there is a couple of alien races that don't necessarily want us to know about them because they control.
Yeah, but then there are those that they reveal more to, who explain the truth. You got Frank, you got you have Russ, all these people all around. I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, this is unusual. Let me tell you this. And even Steve says that's really unusual. With Dawn, who knows about this a little bit too, to find that many people, because it's so secretive that they will say that maybe 10% of the population even goes further and understands more. And yet we've accumulated here. That's an unusual thing to happen, truthfully. The fact that I had Aldo come into my life. So I think we prearranged this to expose it a little bit. Well, I don't want to even say that. But
Well, I've said that to you before. For you to have a walking earth guide, there's a reason you had a walking guide.
yeah.
There are people that don't or do but don't
Because
know
it was my time. I chose that, Dawn. Even
Yeah, but do you have a walking Aldo that you know of?
I can barely walk.
No, but when you're ready, I was ready, and that's exactly what we're talking about. People that are ready will. That's what this program I was watching.
So the
other
50
day.
so-called situations in there, is there an Aldo in there for me? Is that what I'm looking for?
When you're ready, that will show.
And it's
The
really
teacher
funny
appears.
because none of the incidences have I ever met the people afterwards.
No, because you were meant to be at the right place at the right time. When I broke my arm, I fell in a parking lot, and I'm laying there, and cars could have gone over me. A woman appeared from nowhere, and all I kept saying, because I knocked myself out at the same time too, is thank you to her. I need your phone number. She said, no, it doesn't matter. I'm just waiting for the ambulance. Now, something like that was to me strange. She didn't want to give me her phone number or anything. She waited for the ambulance. They came and picked me up. But where did this woman appear from?
You know, you're triggering all sorts of things. I was in Brooklyn, New York, and it was raining. I was a kid. My uncle, Chuchi's father, and my father and stuff, they went out to get the brakes fixed on a station wagon. So they put the car up on the stilt. You know those things that hold the cars up? Okay. And it was slanted downhill a little bit. And I walked out of the car and I went over and I told my father, the car is going to fall on the guy. And my father says, Freddie, go over there. So I went to my cousin, Juji, and said, Juji, we got to get the guy from underneath the car. And right there, the car falls off the stilt and lands on the guy's chest. And everybody's trying to lift the car to get him out. And that's all I remember.
Wow. So if you think you're going to find other things are coming to your memory too.
Well, stop doing that.
No, it's not me that's doing it.
It ain't me.
You're letting you know that you are this is part of something that you've chosen in this particular life to be. This is your calling to be at the right place. But then that can work to some good things too, because somebody could walk in here because you've pulled them somehow in here, and it's very much to everybody's, let's say, higher purpose in life. I'm going to say advantage,
I don't know what that is, but okay.
Higher purpose.
You ready to wrap this up, Sally?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I hope you found this enjoyable. And it seems so funny because I normally see myself.
I know.
So I know. So just to let you know that something happened to the cameras here, that we're on the air, but
we are in the dark.
See ourselves.
We are in the dark.
So I look forward to hearing from you, talking to you. Please call in maybe with questions, and I think we'll continue with this subject for a little
Absolutely.
longer.
Sounds good.
It's
Kind of
interesting.
like it's
a lot
kind
of people like
yeah, I'm just going to keep reoccurring these dreams.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Bernard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.